All right, so welcome back. So we're actually going to talk a little bit more about the font property, or I guess I shouldn't say font property, but text-related properties, and show you some fun things you can do. Originally, this lesson was going to be optional, but I decided to make it required because fonts are supposed to be fun, and in order to have more fun with them, it'd be nice to do things like make them look pretty, which means you can like bring in your own fonts, and then you can add like text shadows and things like that. So when it comes to fonts and what you bring in, a browser has a bunch of fonts already, right? Like they're going to have the Arials, they're going to have the Times New Roman, they've probably got a lot of fonts. But sometimes you want to do something custom, which is fun. There are actually a lot of websites that let you bring in fonts. You can also save it as a file, or you can just load it from their website. I'm going to show you how to use Google's font tool. There's nothing sacred about Google's font tool, but it's more that I had to pick one thing to use as my example. And of course I'm going to pick Google because I'm a big Google fanboy, right? So if you open up a new browser and you take it to Google/fonts, what you should get is you should get a page that kind of looks like this. If you scroll down on the list, one way to navigate through their different fonts is just to kind of look at them, right? So it's picked a default sentence there. And you can scroll down and you can look at a bunch of fonts. But to be honest, that starts to be hard after a while. And so maybe you can try to use different ways to kind of filter it down into smaller subsets. For this example, we're going to do something together. We're going to look up a specific font. Let's just say we know the name of it. I randomly picked a font here called Rye, just because it looks very different. And I wanted to show you how to use this tool. So the way you use this tool is you can actually do things like where you can add it to collections, and then you could make on your page a link to just get your collection of fonts you use. But what we're going to do, just because I want to show you to you, is we're going to show you the quick use. So hover over, so type in Rye, find this font. Looks like there's a bunch of others that it also found, and click on quick use. And it tells you that it will load the page fairly quickly, so it's a fairly non-intensive font. And then there are different things that you could download. But the way that you do it is you simply add a link to make sure that you've included this font. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this and have it be on my clipboard. And we're going to go look at example 2, which is the third example in your font exercises. So in your font exercises, what you're going to do is where it says to do, add your font link tags here. You're just going to paste in a font link. So I added in this link. I mean, I could have looked at it, but to be honest, I just know that it works. And then what I need to do is I need to follow their instructions for the rest. So it says to integrate it into your CSS, all you need to do is you just need to specify a font family on some element, and then it'll get that font, right? So in this example, I've got the Rye font set up as a class, and that's just because of what we're using for the demo. And so you can see that I put that class on there, and so this is going to show up in that font. By the way, technically, this was already included as a link already, so I put it on here twice. So I may as well delete one of the two of them. But I wanted to show you the process for getting it, but it actually was already in that file. And then once you've got that code added, you can open up this and you can see what it looks like with that font. And what you can do is you can clearly see that it's using some custom font. So what I want you to do is I want you to just pause the video and then go add 3 more fonts that are your choice. So add any font that you would like, right? So I'm not going to make it a separate video. Just go pause the video and go do that now and finish up those 3 exercises. All right, I'm going to keep going. And so in addition to bringing in custom fonts, which is one kind of advanced font skill I wanted to mention, I also wanted to mention how you could use a text shadow. Text shadow is a pretty simple property. It is a newer property, but it's one that most browsers support now. And the way it works is you say text shadow, which is the name of the property, and then this one is also a list, so you can have like multiple shadows, right? So if you want a shadow that's like red and down to the right, and then you want a gray one that's even farther down to the right, you can stack on as many shadows as you want. Each shadow should consist of 4 properties. Of these 4 values, 2 are required. The ones that are required, I mean, you can read this thing, is the horizontal and vertical position are required. And then you could also specify the amount of blur that you want with it. You can play with this to see what the amount of blur means. And then you can make it any color you wanted. So this is the text shadow. What I'd like for you to do to learn a little bit more about the text shadow is to look at some examples. I guess that's first. So here's a horizontal position that's specified in EMs. You could also specify in pixels. So that one uses pixels as well. This one has a blur amount as well. And then this one has a color. You can see that this one chose to just use color. It figures out what you want and don't need. And then here's one with 4 different shadows, right? So there's a shadow that goes all the way around it. To be honest, if you wanted something to go all the way around it, there are easier ways to do it with blur, but I at least wanted to show at least one that is a list of multiple shadows. So now what I would like for you to do with it is to go add a text shadow to exercise 1, add a text shadow to the title of that exercise, and then also add a text shadow to the paragraph of that exercise. All right, once you've done that, you should hopefully be done with the font exercises now. You're free to turn those in and go ahead and submit those. There is also one other thing I wanted to say, and things like this text shadow, it's a newer property. There's an ever-changing list of properties that are allowed and not allowed. And the website that I really like is Can I Use? So I go to Can I Use to figure out if something is okay to use or not. Is it safe to use text shadow? And what it'll do is it'll give you a rating for if that's supported on all the different browsers or not. So you can see that like Internet 8 didn't support it. That was no shock. But it looks like all current browsers support text shadow, so you're good to go there. And to be honest, we use Can I Use all the time to see if something is okay to use across browsers or if it needs other details that we'll talk about later. All right, that's it for font. We'll see you next time.